who were hopeful to finally escape Aleppo, Syria. They are now trapped once again as the ceasefire, the very temporary ceasefire, appears to be collapsing right now. Up to 50,000 civilians cannot escape. They are trapped, and around them, above them, shots, bombs, as pro-government forces are pushing in and on to the city. I want to show you the very latest tweet coming from the mother of that 7-year-old girl that everyone has been following, who's been tweeting out their final messages. She and her family are documenting their struggle to survive. Here's the latest from the mother. She writes, "Dear world, there's intense bombing right now. Why are you silent? Why? Fear is killing me and my kids." Let's go right now to senior international correspondent Nick Payton-Wall. She's in Beirut watching all of this. Nick, what is the latest update on the ceasefire in Aleppo? Is it completely gone?
It appears that shelling is continuing. There's no sign that this ceasefire, I mean, that's a complicated way to describe it, really. It appears to have been a pause in hostilities to let those thousands of people still trapped in an ever-shrinking area of rebel territory, to let them out and head towards rebel-held areas to the northwest of Aleppo. That never really got underway at all, to some degree. The biggest question here is how many people are still trapped in that area. An estimate from the UN Special Envoy for Syria suggested maybe as many as 50,000, possibly 1,500 fighters in their midst as well, a large part of those possibly affiliated to Al-Qaeda, showing you the complicated mix of radicalism and innocent civilians that are still trapped in that remaining part of Aleppo. But as this roller coaster plays out, remember, hours ago we were thinking that potentially this area of Aleppo had been seized by the Syrian government and Russian allies, but they were going to let the rebels and civilians with them out along a clean road, safe passage to a safe area. That fell apart. It's unclear. It's common, frankly, in circumstances like this, people rethink the terms of what's going, but none of this has slowed the international rhetoric. It is just words, frankly. The West is not powerful at this stage or potent enough to intervene and stop this. Russia and Syria have the upper hand, but still you heard some very harsh words at the UN Security Council just last night. Samantha Power here for the United States.
Are you truly incapable of shame? Is there literally nothing that can shame you? Is there no act of barbarism against civilians, no execution of a child that gets under your skin, that just creeps you out a little bit? Is there nothing you will not lie about or justify?
Now, obviously, the Russians have said they are tired of hearing the United States whine about the Syrian conflict. I think many Syrians, frankly, are also tired of the rhetoric in their support, but the absence of concrete action. The West has been unwilling to get involved, particularly in this messy fight for Aleppo. Such a complex mix amongst rebel ranks there for them to try and arm. But we're seeing here what many consider an unprecedented humanitarian catastrophe, certainly in the Syrian war, but also a turning point, frankly, territorially, for what 5 years ago started as a revolution, Kate.
Nick, Turkey's president is planning to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin today. Obviously, this is the topic. What can be accomplished, do you think?
Well, Turkey has made it clear that they want to ensure this humanitarian corridor out of eastern Aleppo goes through, that people get out. Now, that's partly because of Turkey's regional role of protecting the Sunni in the region. Sunni country itself, many of the rebels fighting against the Assad regime in Syria are Sunni too. That's sort of a regional role President Erdogan has always taken on. Remember, about a year ago, he was at loggerheads with Russia, a very aggressive relationship there. They've since healed the rift between them. Perhaps he's looking to President Putin to lay pressure on the Assad regime and ensure that that evacuation actually goes through. But we're down to the wire here, really. Perhaps a sense, I think, of the geopolitical deals being done behind closed doors, not translating necessarily onto the ground to angry sectarian-fueled militia who are doing a lot of the fighting. This is a turning point in the war, certainly, in terms of rebel losses, but it may also be one of the more silent massacres here. Just bear in mind, if the killing stops here, that doesn't mean suddenly this chapter's finished. We're already hearing the Taliban in Afghanistan condemning what they consider to be the massacre in Aleppo. This will go on in the minds of jihadists and, frankly, disenfranchised, angry Sunni Muslims across the world in the years to come, as a totem, frankly, of how brutal the Syrian war has been and how little the international community seemed to care to actually intervene and stop it, Kate.
And just